Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Ashtaprayasva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarvrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 6 Chapter 3 Verse 20-21 स्वयंभू नारद शंभो कुमार कपिलो मनु प्रह्लादो जनको भीष्मो बलिर्वयासकिर्वयं द्वादशैते विजानीमो धर्मं भागवतं भटाः गुह्यं विशुद्धं दुर्बोधं यं ज्ञात्वामृतम् अश्नुते Lord Brahma, Bhagavan Narada, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Lord Kapila, Swayambhuva Manu, Prahlad Maharaja, Janaka Maharaja, Grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaja, Shukadeva Goswami, and I myself know the real religious principle which we discussed yesterday, which is to serve the Supreme Lord, which is to surrender unto the Supreme Lord. My dear servants, this transcendental religious principle, which is known as Bhagavata Dharma, or surrender unto the Supreme Lord and love for Him, is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is very confidential and difficult for ordinary beings to understand. But if by chance one fortunately understands it, he is immediately liberated and thus he returns back home, back to Godhead. See, just this concept of surrender and love for Krishna, which is uncontaminated by the modes of material nature, it is very confidential. So uncontaminated by modes of material nature means what? Anybody wants to say? What does it mean?
Is it above the three modes of material nature?
What does it mean in terms of devotional service? What type of devotional service is this?
Pure devotion.
Yeah, this is pure devotional service. This is Kevala Bhakti. This is Uttama Bhakti. This is not Mishra Bhakti. This is not the bhakti which is contaminated by the modes. This is not the bhakti which wherein there is desire for material happiness, etc. This is uncontaminated. So this is Kevala Bhakti. So Kevala Bhakti is very confidential and difficult for ordinary human beings to understand. That is why we see if we preach Kevala Bhakti, takers will be very less. If you just say, okay, come, do whatever you want. Yeah, you can look. Yeah, not much emphasis for Kevala Bhakti, then there will be little more takers. And if you just say, okay, come, don't do anything, put money in the hundi and you will get whatever you want, then there will be maximum takers. Right? But this Kevala Bhakti is very confidential and difficult for ordinary human beings to understand. So if by chance one fortunately understands it, understands means understand and accept it and stick to it and try to follow it. This is actual Bhagavata Dharma. This is Bhagavata Dharma. One has to be extremely fortunate to be able to understand and accept it. He is immediately liberated. See, in one verse, Yamaraja is saying what should be our mood in devotion. And this is the real religious principle. And so all these great personalities are only propagating this pure devotional service. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna refers to Bhagavata Dharma as the most confidential religious principle. Sarva guhyatamam, guhyad guhyataram. Krishna says to Arjuna, because you are my dear, very dear friend, I am explaining to you the most confidential religion. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam braja. Give up all other duties and surrender unto me. One may ask, if this principle is very rarely understood, what is the use of it? What is the use of it? What is the use of understanding or accepting it? In answer, Yamaraja states here in that this religious principle is understandable if one follows the parampara system of Lord Brahma, Shiva, four Kumaras, and other standard authorities, not non-standard authorities. There are four lines of disciplic succession, one from Lord Brahma, one from Lord Shiva, one from Lakshmi, and one from Kumaras. The disciplic succession from Lord Brahma is called Brahma Sampradaya. From Shiva, Shambhu is called Rudra Sampradaya. From Goddess of Fortune, Lakshmi is called Sri Sampradaya. And Kumaras is called Kumara Sampradaya. One must take shelter of one of these four Sampradayas in order to understand the most confidential religious system. Take shelter. Again, these words are repeated. Prabhupada uses these words. Prabhupada is not saying one must be part of these four sampradayas. Saying one must take shelter. Meaning we have to surrender to the authorities, we have to follow what they are saying, we have to do bhakti as per their instructions. In the Padma Purana, it is said, Sampradaya Vihina Ye Mantraste Nishpala Mataha. If one does not follow the four recognized disciplic successions, his mantra or initiation is useless. In the present day, there are many apasampradayas or sampradayas which are not bona fide, which have no link to authorities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Kumaras, or Lakshmi. People are misguided by such sampradayas. The Shastras say that being initiated in such a sampradaya is a useless waste of time, for it will never enable one to understand the real religious principle. Now, in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna tells Arjuna saying that, the disciplic succession was broken. Broken means that the message as it is was lost. So every sampradaya faces this danger of actually losing the message as it is. Prabhupada has given the message as it is, but if we don't accept the message as it is and do our own concoctions, then the sampradaya is broken. And how do we do that? We do that when we are engaged in different services. Of course, we can do that in our own bhakti, that is up to us. Whether if we want to spoil our bhakti, that's up to us. But if we are in leadership positions, then we have to strictly follow the authorities. And we have to find out what the authorities are saying and we have to follow that, because then so many people are looking at us and learning. And we should not become responsible for breaking the sampradaya. And who are the leaders doesn't just mean some, big people, right? Everybody, all of us are leaders, because so many devotees who are coming when we are involved in a preaching movement, people come learn from us. So we are all responsible to not break sampradaya. So Prabhupada is saying there are many apasampradayas. So if we don't follow our acharyas, then we become one more apasampradaya. In fact, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, actually, his main preaching focus was to actually destroy this apasampradaya. Because at that time, Vaishnavism was considered very cheap. So he wanted to establish that it is not cheap, and it was considered cheap because of all these apasampradayas. So he had to establish real standards, real sampradaya, very, very difficult task. The Shastras say that being initiated in such a sampradaya is a useless waste of time, for it will never enable one to understand the real religious principle. एतावानेव लोकेऽस्मिन् पुंसां धर्मः परस्मृतः भक्तियोगो भगवती तन्नामग्रहणादिभिः. Devotional service, beginning with the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, is the ultimate religious principle for the living entity in human society. Grahanadibhi, grahana, nama grahana. Nama grahana is taking the holy name. As stated in the previous verse, Dharmam Bhagavatam, real religious principles are Bhagavata Dharma. The principles described in Srimad Bhagavatam itself or in Bhagavad Gita, which is the preliminary study of Bhagavatam. What are these principles? Dharma projita kaita vatra. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there are no cheating religious systems, meaning no dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Everything in Bhagavatam is Kevala Bhakti, is directly connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhagavatam further says, Savai pumsam paro dharmo yatho bhakti dadhoksha. Parodharma, supreme religion, is that which teaches its followers how to love the Supreme Person of Godhead, who is beyond the reach of experimental knowledge. And we can't love. Love means that there is nothing else, no expectation. If there is some expectation in return, then it is just business. Love means just for the pleasure of the person whom we are loving, without asking for anything, which we can see in the devotees of in Rajavasis, how they love Krishna without expecting anything in return. And Krishna gives himself to such devotees. That's why Krishna says that don't give bhakti very easily. Meaning pure devotion, he doesn't give very easily. Like I was saying yesterday, one has to become mad. Laulyam ekam maulyam. Rupa Goswami says one has to become greedy, one has to become mad to achieve this. Only then this is possible. Otherwise, love for Krishna is not cheap. Like I said, we can go to Vaikuntha, we can get liberation, we can go, we can do all that, but we cannot go to Krishna Loka, we cannot go to Goloka. That's not cheap. Such a religious system begins with Tannama Grahana, chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam. After chanting the holy name of the Lord and dancing in ecstasy, one gradually sees the form of the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord, and the transcendental qualities of the Lord. See? Chanting the holy name and dancing in ecstasy. So when we hear the holy name, there should be, we should feel ecstatic when we hear the holy name. Hare Krishna, just when we hear it. And in fact, Krishna's mercy also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna's flute has also appeared in the Sankirtan movement as the Mridanga. So when there is Kartal and Mridanga, pure chanting, no djembe and all this, modern inventions, right? Somewhere somebody was playing it in Africa, we got it here and we are using it. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not teach us this. Right? Simple Mridanga Kartal. Right? And just the sound of Mridanga, Madhur Mridanga. We say in Gaurarthi, we sing, right? Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Bhaje. It's so sweet. It's the flute of Krishna. Just by hearing the Mridanga, just by hearing the holy name, just by hearing a kirtan, just by looking at devotees, we should feel ecstatic. And we should jump, dance. If we can get absorbed like this in chanting of the holy name, then one gradually sees the form of the Lord. The attraction has to be to the holy name, which is not different from Krishna. And sometimes I see devotees, kirtan is going on, they're chanting of their beads. That's Nama Parada, right? Because you will be completely inattentive. How can we chant Hare Krishna when there is kirtan going on? Already there is kirtan. Kirtan itself is Hare Krishna. Why are we again holding our beads and chanting? So this is the taste we have to develop. This taste doesn't appear to happen just like that. We might have taste for hearing Krishna Katha, but we might not have taste for chanting. So, which is of course, but hearing taste for Krishna Katha is also good, because by that taste for hearing Krishna Katha, slowly taste for chanting holy name will come, has to come. This way, one fully understands the situation of the person of Godhead. One can come to this understanding of the Lord, how he descends into the material world, how he takes his birth, and what activities he performs. But one can know this only by executing devotional service. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Simply by devotional service, one can understand everything about the Supreme Lord. Uh, if one fortunately understands Supreme Lord in this way, त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्मनैति जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्मनैति. After giving up this material body, he no longer has to take birth in this material world. Instead, he returns home back to Godhead. That is ultimate perfection. Therefore, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mam upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gati gata. After attaining me, the great souls or yogis in devotion, Mahatma, they never return to the temporary world, which is full of miseries, dukkhalayam ashashvatam. But samsiddhim paramam gataha, but because they've attained the highest perfection. So again, focus is on the holy name. Chanting of the holy name. This is the ultimate religious principle. So we have to tamo nam akari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatrarpita niyamita smaranena kalha etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaiva midrisham ihajani nanuragaha na anuragaha. We don't have anuraga, taste, ruchi for the holy name. So we have to chant this Shikshastakam every day and beg for the taste. And there is no chanting of the holy name if there is no Shravanam, if there is no hearing about the holy name, if there is no hearing about the Lord's name, form, pastimes, qualities, etc. So those who have a good morning program, they normally will have good chanting, good morning program. That is why if we simply follow what Prabhupada has given, we will achieve perfection. Simply we have to follow. We'll achieve the highest perfection. So very nice actually these verses, importance of parampara, what is devotional service. Mahajana, Prabhupada has given us, but one more Mahajana is giving us. Yamaraja is telling us what needs to be done. And so simple. So simple. We just simply complicate things. It's so simple. Namocharana mahatmyam hare pashyata putrakaha ajamilopi yenaiva mrityupashadamuchyata. My dear servants who are as good as my sons, just see how glorious is the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. The greatly sinful Ajamila chanted only to call his son, not knowing that he was chanting the Lord's holy name. Nevertheless, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, he remembered Narayana, and thus he was immediately saved from the ropes of death. He remembered Narayana. There is no need to conduct research into the significance of the chanting of the Holy. Prabhupada is saying this because, nowadays we hear this video saying, chanting the holy name, how it changes some brain waves and this, all not required. We are making this Hare Krishna Mahamantra mundane by all these things, saying that, it's going to affect our mind. Mundane stuff. We are to talk about Hare Krishna Mahamantra giving us love for Krishna. And Prabhupada is clearly saying there is no need to conduct any mundane research for this, of what is the significance of the chanting of the holy name. And anyway, our mundane research cannot reach the ultimate perfection of chanting holy name, right? Which is what Ajamila experienced. So, the history of Ajamila is sufficient proof of the power of the Lord's holy name and the exalted position of a person who chants the holy name incessantly. So, Ajamila was chanting the holy name incessantly because he named his son Narayana and is continuously calling Narayana, 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 Narayana. Is incessant chanting. So you can also do that. If you have some extreme affection to somebody in your family, just change their name to Krishna, Chaitanya or something, which you like, and keep taking their names. Then you will also chant incessantly. How much ever times you want to call that person, as long as that person is not going to get irritated with you, keep calling. It's simply the power of the Lord's holy name is demonstrated here, and we do all kinds of mental speculation, thinking that we are powerful enough to understand or evaluate or conduct research into the significance of the chanting. We don't want to follow Prabhupada's instructions. Prabhupada is saying, don't conduct research into the significance of the chanting of the holy name, but we'll do that. This is why people, if we don't read Prabhupada's book, then we'll end up all this. Oh, no. If you make this research, put it, then people will get more attracted to the holy name. Why Prabhupada has written a book, Second Chance? Distribute that book. Why do you have to do anything else? In this age of Kali, no one can perform all the ritualistic ceremonies for becoming liberated. That is extremely difficult. Therefore, all the Shastras and all the Acharyas have recommended that in this age one chant the holy name. Like I was saying yesterday, Vrajavasis are always chanting the holy name of Radharani. All the time, incessantly. So you can also call your son, daughters, give Krishna, Radha's names and call them nicely, call them as much as possible, and finally go back to Krishna. एतावतालम् अघनिर्हरणाय पुंसां सङ्कीर्तनं भगवतो गुणकर्मणां विकृष्य पुत्रम् अगवान् यदजामिलोऽपि नारायणेति म्रियमाण याय muktim. Therefore, it should be understood that one is easily relieved from all sinful reactions by chanting the holy name of the Lord and chanting of his qualities and activities. We are being relieved of our sinful reactions. Actually, we are relieved of all our sinful reactions, but somehow because some propensity to sin is still there, that is making us do some unwanted things. But actually, all our sinful reactions are gone. Karmani niddhati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. This is the only process recommended for relief from sinful reactions. Even if one chants the holy name of the Lord with improper pronunciation, he will achieve relief from material bondage if he chants without offenses. So it's so powerful that if you chant without offenses, even if there is improper pronunciation, because some people from different parts of the world, they can't pronounce Krishna and Rama and Hare so nicely. But it's okay. If we can, we should not pronounce it wrongly. If we can't, naturally our tongue, we are born in certain place such that our accent is different, etc., then it's okay. But looking at them, we should not wrongly chant. Some people can't chant Krishna. They say Krishna, Krishna. It's not that we should also start chanting Krishna or something else. The Indians are fortunate. We have the tongue to actually twist. Can twist and turn, suitable for Indian languages. So pronounce nicely, as the mantra states. But if somebody is not able to, it doesn't matter. Ajamila, for example, was extremely sinful, but while dying, he merely chanted the holy name and all the calling his son. He achieved complete liberation because he remembered the name of Narayana. This is one important incident. In the assembly of Raghunath Das Goswami's father, Haridas Thakur, confirmed that simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is liberated, even if he does not chant completely inoffensively. Even if he does not chant completely inoffensively, he can get liberated. Smartha Brahmanas and Mayavadis do not believe that one can achieve liberation in this way, but the truth of Haridas Thakur's statement is supported by many quotations from Srimad Bhagavatam. In his commentary on these words, for example, Sridhar Swami gives the following quotation. Sayam pratar grinan bhaktya dukkha gramad vimuchyate. If one chants the holy name of the Lord with great devotion in the evening and in the morning, one can become free from all material miseries. And we are chanting more than just in the morning and evening. 16 rounds. Another quotation confirms that one can achieve liberation if one hears the holy name of the Lord constantly, every day, with great respect. Anudinam. Idam adarena shrunman. Anudinam. Every day. Another quotation says, Shravanam Kirtanam Dhyanam Harer Adbhuta Karmanaha Janma Karma Gunanam Cha Tadarthe Akhilas Chestitam. One should always chant and hear about the extraordinary, wonderful activities of the Lord. One should meditate upon these activities. One should endeavor to please the Lord. Sridhar Swami also quotes from Puranas, Papakshayascha Bhavati Smaratam Tam Ahar Nisham. One can become free from sinful reactions simply by remembering the lotus feet of the Lord day and night. तस्मात् संकीर्तनं विष्णोर्जगन्मङ्गलम् अम्हसां महताम् अपि कौरव्य विद्यैकान्तिक निष्कृतम्. All these quotations prove that one who constantly engages in chanting and hearing of the holy activities, name, fame, and form of the Lord is liberated. As stated wonderfully in this verse, etavatalam agha nirharanaya pumsam. Simply by uttering the name of the Lord, one is freed from all sinful reactions. Simple. That we already discussed. The word alam, which is used in this verse, indicates that simply uttering the holy name of the Lord is sufficient. The word is used with different imports. As stated in the Amara Kosha, Dictionary. Alam Bhushana Paryapti Shakti Varana Vachakam. The word alam is used to mean ornament, sufficiency, power, and restraint. Here, the word alam is used to indicate that there is no need of any other process, for the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is sufficient. Even if one chants imperfectly, one becomes free from all sinful reactions by chanting. But this has to be anudinam, satatam, continuous chanting. This power of chanting the holy name was proved by the liberation of Ajamila. When Ajamila chanted the holy name of Narayana, he did not precisely remember the Supreme Lord. Instead, he remembered his own son. At the time of death, Ajamila certainly was not very clean. Indeed, he was famous as a great sinner. Furthermore, one's physiological condition is completely disturbed at the time of death, and in such an awkward condition, it would certainly have been very difficult for Ajamila to have chanted clearly. Nevertheless, Ajamila achieved liberation simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Therefore, what is to be said of those who are not sinful like Ajamila? It is to be concluded that with a strong vow, one should chant the holy name of the Lord. For thus one will certainly be delivered from the clutches of Maya by the grace of Krishna. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is recommended even for persons who commit offenses, because if they continue chanting, they will gradually chant offenselessly. By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra without offenses, one increases his love for Krishna. As stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prema Pumartho Mahan. One's main concern should be to increase one's attachment to the Supreme Person of Godhead and to increase one's love for Him. One's main concern should be this. Yeah, we are chanting 16 rounds, 20 rounds, 50 rounds, whatever we are chanting. But if that attachment to Krishna, if our love for Krishna is not increasing, then we are doing something wrong. Of course, Nama also doesn't immediately give the results. We have to be patient, but at least we will not engage ourselves in sinful activities, in sense gratificatory activities. At least that itself is a test of Nishta, being fixed in devotion. And then attachment will increase. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes the following verse: Evam dharmayar manushyanam uddhavatam mani uddhavatmani vedinam mai sanjayate bhaktihi ko nyo artho shava shishyate. My dear Uddhava, the supreme religious system for human society is that by which one can awaken his dormant love for me. Commenting on this verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes the word bhakti by saying premai voktaha ka anyahartasya. In the presence of bhakti, what is the necessity of liberation? He quotes this verse from Padma Purana, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Even if in the beginning one chants the Hare Krishna mantra with offenses, one will become free from such offenses by chanting again and again. Nama parada yuktanam, meaning one is yukta, full of nama parada. Namani eva haranti agam. Name itself will haranti, will destroy agam, sins. Avishranti prayuktani, tani evartha karani cha. But we have to do it avishranti, continuously. One becomes free from all sinful reactions if one chants day and night, following the recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way, no other way, no other way. If the members of the Krishna consciousness movement strictly follow this recommendation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their position will always be secure. Now, so continuous chanting is required. Like I was saying, as we make progress in our devotion, our number of rounds of chanting has to increase. Of course, chanting also means associated devotional service, like it could be preaching, it could be book distribution, it could be deity worship, it could be anything. But the whole, if we are in the right consciousness, we'll be chanting and we will be doing our seva. So whenever we are doing any seva, it's always good to have Prabhupada's Hare Krishna Mahamantra playing, or pure devotees singing Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so that we are also doing the seva and chanting and doing the seva. Otherwise, we'll be talking, right? Some gossip, some useless talks, connected with the body, which means weather, news, some all, yeah, some unwanted stuff. So we have to continuously, we have to chant every day, minimum 16 rounds, and then as we make more progress, we have to slowly increase the rounds. But not at the expense of other services. But if you get time, then we should chant. Of course, different devotees have different tastes also. Some people like reading more than chanting. That reading also ultimately has to bring taste for chanting. Somebody might read because they have to give classes and they're engaged in preaching, so they'll have to read. So they have taste for reading, they'll read. But eventually, the name, taste for name, any which way, the taste for name has to be there. So even if they're reading during extra time, etc., their chanting in the morning should be with, there should be some taste in that chanting. So that'll happen gradually. It's not something it's going to happen overnight, but we have to keep consistently. We have to keep at it, keep trying, keep trying. Mm. So this is important. So many nice quotations here from different shastras. प्रायेण वेद तद्दिदं न महाजनोऽयं देव्या विमोहितमतिर्पतमाययालं त्रय्यां जडीकृत मतिर्मधुपुष्पितायां वैतानिके महति कर्मणि युज्यमानः. Because they are bewildered by the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord, Yagnavalkya, Jaimini, and other compilers of religious scriptures cannot know the secret, confidential religious system of the 12 Mahajanas. So these are the Shad Darshanas, the six other philosophies. They cannot understand bhakti. They cannot understand the transcendental value of performing devotional service or chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Because their minds are attracted to the ritualistic ceremonies mentioned in the Vedas, especially in the Yajur, Sama, Rug. Their intelligence has become dull. Thus, they are busy collecting ingredients for ritualistic ceremonies that yield only temporary benefits, such as elevation to Swargaloka for material happiness. They are not attracted to the Sankirtana movement. Instead, they are interested in Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Actually, many devotees from other sampradayas also, they look at us chanting and dancing and they think this is sentimental. In fact, in many temples, we have been like the pujaris there scold us if you are chanting loudly, saying that this is not how you do devotion to the Lord by loudly chanting like this. In one Sri Sampradaya temple, very, very famous Sri Sampradaya temple, we were told this and we just stopped. We can't explain to them that the Supreme Lord is most pleased by this in Kali Yuga. Anyway, the holy name, chanting of the holy name is all in all. Since one may easily achieve the highest success by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one may ask why there are so many Vedic ritualistic ceremonies and why people are attracted to them. This verse answers that question. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Vedescha Sarve Rameva Vedya. The real purpose of studying the Vedas is to approach the lotus feet of Krishna. Unfortunately, unintelligent people bewildered by the grandeur of Vedic yagnas want to see gorgeous sacrifices performed. They want Vedic mantras chanted and huge amounts of money spent for such ceremonies. Sometimes you have to observe the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies to please such unintelligent men. Prabhupada is saying about the ceremonies that possibly were done. I don't know what is the timing of this sentence, but when in Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram temple, right, you had to observe the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies to please. Recently, when recently when we established a large Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan, we were obliged to have. Please note this word, obliged. Prabhupada wouldn't have done it. But nowadays we do Vedic ceremonies more than chanting. We do Homa, this, that, and all that. But that is all not required. Simply we have to just chant Hare Krishna, that's all. We are obliged to have Vedic ceremonies enacted by Brahmanas because the inhabitants of Vrindavana, especially the Smarta Brahmanas, would not accept Europeans and Americans as bona fide Brahmanas. Thus, we have to engage Brahmanas to perform costly yagnas. In spite of these yagnas, the members of our society performed Sankirtana loudly with Bridangas, and I considered the Sankirtana more important than the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. So, if there is some Vedic ritualistic ceremony being done, okay, but if there's no Sankirtana, then it's practically of no value. We can do it, but there has to be Sankirtana along. That is why Sankirtana completes all other devotional activities. Harinam completes all other devotional activities. Both the ceremonies and the Sankirtana were going on simultaneously. The ceremonies were meant for persons interested in Vedic rituals for elevation to heavenly planets, whereas the Sankirtana was meant for pure devotees interested in pleasing the Supreme Person of Godhead. We would simply have Sankirtana, but then the inhabitants of Vrindavana would not have taken the installation ceremony seriously. As explained here, the Vedic performances are meant for those whose intelligence has been dulled by the flowery language of the Vedas, which describe fruitive activities. Of course, here Prabhupada is talking about fruitive yagnas. We might also do yagnas which are not fruitive, meant to please the Lord. But we should understand that all that is just too much endeavor, unless there's some very specific intent. We should not do this to attract new people. We'll say, okay, we'll do this yagna, you can become Yajamana, you can give some donation. We are just, misguiding people. Focus has to be Sankirtana. We should understand this. Actually, if we do follow what Prabhupada has given seriously, people will come and give Lakshmi. Lakshmi collection is not so much of an issue. It will come. If you are sincere, Lakshmi will come. So we don't have to do all these things. Especially in this age of Kali, Sankirtana alone is sufficient. See, again and again, again and again. If the members of our temples in the different parts of the world simply continue Sankirtana before the deity, especially before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they will remain perfect. Prabhupada said this multiple times. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will take care of your necessities. Just do Sankirtana. Sincere chanting of the holy name. Fully depending on Lord. Surrendered. Krishna will send. There is no need of any other performances. Nevertheless, to keep oneself clean in habits and mind, deity worship and other regulative principles are required. Yeah, but they are only whatever has been given by our acharyas. Srila Jiva Goswami says that although Sankirtana is sufficient for the perfection of life, the Archana or worship of the deity in the temple must continue in order that the devotees may stay clean and pure. That is only if we are not doing Sankirtana cleanly and purely, which is what happens with many devotees because they are not attached to the holy name. So, deity worship is required. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur therefore recommended that one follow both processes simultaneously. We strictly follow his principle of performing deity worship and Sankirtana along parallel lines. This we should continue. This is required because not everybody is attached to Bhagavata Dharma. So we require Pancharatriki also. So both are done as per our acharyas. And even those who are attached to Bhagavata Dharma will naturally get attracted to deity worship, and they do deity worship in the right mindset. One of the seva apradhas is to talk loudly in front of the deity. Loudly meaning, like if suppose Narendra Modi is there, will we talk just loudly, just like nobody is there? We will not. Even if we have to communicate something, it has to be a gossip, it has to be in somebody else's ear, or it has to be outside their presence. But I see that devotees don't have that they don't have that consciousness at all that the Supreme Lord is present in his deity form. This is not, the Pancharatriki Vidhi also means with the clear consciousness that Supreme Lord is present in his Archa form. It is his incarnation. He's accepted that form, which means that he is present there. We can't be talking, joking, etc. in front of the deities. These are all not acceptable. This is not the mood. This will happen when we reach Raganuga. That too, that is not done externally, it is done internally. When Krishna and Radha are there, and maybe, Madhumangal is making jokes, and some conversation is happening, and that too, even we see even in the Shastra, in scriptures, and the Manjaris and all, they're giggling. Giggling means not like loud laughing. Because nobody wants to make their presence felt in front of the Lord. They are supposed to be the most important personalities there, Radha and Krishna. And Sakhis because they are engaged in, some pastime and they have to, make their presence felt. But others, like for example, Manjaris, they're always there in the background and just, being part of the Leela and enjoying the pastime, what is going on there. But they don't make their presence felt. So in front of the deity, we should not make our presence felt. We should be in the consciousness of being a servant of the Lord there. I see loud conversations happening. This is not standard. This is not the required standard. So even though we might be doing deity worship, we should do deity worship with the highest standards. And we should set these rules. right? No talking loudly in front of the Lord, especially those engaged in service. So these things are important. We need to learn all this. Yeah, that is why Sankirtana is easy, because deity worship also has so many rules. It's not easy. And we end up doing Seva Prada, and and then we do Seva Prada. If we don't do chanting properly, then Seva Prada will become Nama Prada. So many things will happen. So even if you do deity worship, focus on Harinam, focus on Bhagavata Dharma, Shravanam Kirtanam. Okay, I'll stop here. Any questions, comments? Nobody?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Prabhu, even while doing the deity worship, we should chant Hare Krishna mantra.
Yeah. I mean, unless we are chanting some other mantra there as a pujari,
Okay,
we should be chanting Hare Krishna Mama.
okay, thank you.
Okay, so I request all devotees, especially those involved in Haribulima Rath Yatra, the deities are coming. Please be as conscious as possible in front of them. We should behave the way our acharyas want us to behave in front of the deities. So we should not take them lightly. We don't want anybody to come and touch the deities, so we have to make very strict arrangements there. So yeah, request all your cooperation. Um, yeah, Rajaram Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Ankita
Hare
here.
Krishna, Ankita. Yeah.
So, Prabhu, I mean, usually Raju Prabhu says that
Rajaram Prabhu.
Rajaram Prabhu says that if
Mm.
we are doing, if you want to do Mangal Arati, it is better you go to the nearby center and attend instead of doing it in the home. So is it, I mean, which one is more preferable, Prabhu? If we have center, then going to the center, I mean, attending with the crowd, Mangalarti is better than doing Mangalarti at home.
Yeah,
Is it
always,
fine?
but yeah, it's always good to do devotional service in the association of devotees. Okay, but having said that, house worship also has to happen. Some minimum standards can be set for that. Right, like yeah, at home you can offer whatever puja you can do quickly, and then you can attend Mangalarti, especially if there's a temple uh, where there is deity worship. But even if there is a center, association of devotees will be very powerful. Actually, without association of devotees, we can't do our morning program properly. We should attend Mangalarti. We should do chanting there, and ideally we should hear Bhagavatam class. But for that, people might not have time. But at least devotees should do Mangalarti and chanting at least. They might not. They might leave before Darshanarti, but that's okay. And this is very important, because if we are alone, we'll do, first of all, we won't fix our time. If we are doing alone, right? It becomes our convenience. Whenever we get up, we do. If we have to be in the association of devotees, then, Mangalarti happens at a fixed time. Then it's good. Everybody gets up early. Everybody, is Krishna conscious. Then come and appear in front of the Lord. Lord sees us, gives us mercy. Then we do Mangalarti, we do chanting nicely, and then we start our day. That's ideal. Otherwise, if somebody is very, very disciplined in their house, and center temple is far off, and then okay, do disciplined worship at home. Not like one day 5 o'clock, next day 5:30, another day 4:30. Not like this.
Okay,
So
Prabhu.
that's always better. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Okay. So we'll end. So we will. Our next class will possibly be on Monday only, I think, because tomorrow we will be busy with Rath Yatra. Day after we would have come very late, so I don't think we'll have a morning class. So we will do on Monday. Okay. So we'll stop here. If anything anybody wants to say, otherwise we can end. Okay. ओके, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। हरे कृष्णा।